Good morning. Welcome to Philosophy. I'm your host, Jennifer Fallaw-Doering. And today we've got some Gentel. And I have some thoughts over coffee. Today we're going to learn a little bit about empaths and energy vampires and what that is. And it's going to pair up with what I taught you last week, I believe it was last week, about psychic protection and blasting and things like that. And I'd also like to hear if anybody's been doing that. So let's have a good day, shall we? Looks like everybody's here. All right. Lots of familiar names. I guess I should be thinking out loud when I look at all your names. But I just like to say good morning to everybody. There is no need to be upset right now, okay, about the whole situation. Don't mind the hair, I just colored it, can't do a thing with it. What we're watching right now is very interesting. I see it all over, bits and pieces here, other countries, talk about government officials resigning, all kinds of things going on, chipping around the edges of the financial situation and the political problems in the world. And the way you need to look at that is that it's evidence of Nasara Jasara happening. Well, it started, but public reveal with the announcement and everything else. That's when everything's set in stone. That's when everything's ready to go. So I went into meditation today. Just waiting a second till more people get on. But hey, you know how I am. If you're late to class, you're gonna have to scroll back later. Okay, sit down, be quiet till you catch up. So this is Gentel for March 21st, 2024, interdimensional meditation. Originally, I put Archangel Michael and Gabriel. And then when I talked to them, I said, "Can you meet me in the field?" They said, "Go to the library." Like, oh, that's why. So I said, serious when I go to the library. I'm like, why? It's just so bad news, is there? No. So this is what this looks like. I have this house on the 6th level of heaven. Don't worry about the number 6. I didn't like that. I'm like, why 6? Why couldn't it be 5? I was born on 5-5. Everything's 5. I was in the 5th level of heaven. And the way the dimensions in the universe is set up like a bullseye. So, and if you turn it on its side, it looks like a big donut. We'll explain that in another show. But that's why that what was it? Fibonacci sequence is so interesting, because if you were to turn the whole thing on the side, the way I learned it from the archangels, this looks like that. That's why I was so excited when Phil G. Godlewski did his live on that. And I was like, that is so interesting. Anyway, so you got the center of the bullseye, God, highest vibration, right? Then you've got the Garden of Eden, the the first dimension outside, first separation of self of God. So all your truth selves are always residing, and then they separate themselves to go out and have these lives. Okay. Dimension around that, sixth level of heaven. So very high vibrational place. The library itself is one of the rooms inside my house. And when I originally saw my house in meditation, it would look like a little shack, but it was that I was only ready to see one room of it. And then over time, it was bigger and bigger, and then it stopped growing. So one of the rooms there is this beautiful library. And it has a very, it's very, that library I'd say would be maybe very English, maybe a very like an old, historic English home that has a library with dark wood inset um, bookcases and a fireplace and a seating area and another fireplace. And then over here, there's like a conference table, and then there's a big desk, and there's all kinds of scrolls and um, neat stuff put into cabinets and things, and a lot of stuff I've never even touched or looked at. And when I'm told going to the library was always, it was almost like when you got in, it was like looking at everything through water or humidity rising. I mean, the energy there was very, very high. And, but I adjusted over time. I don't feel like that anymore. So, but I always get this, oh God, it's going to be hard when you tell me to go to the library. I'm like, it's the morning. I'm not ready for that. So anyway, I was told to go to the library, and I'm like, okay, there's going to be more than Archangel Gabriel and Michael in there. And so I walk in, beautiful dark wood, heavy carved door that you open up and you enter into the library. And next to the door is this seating area with these couches and a chair and a little corner fireplace. And in that, Archangel Michael was seated. Well, they all stand when I come in, but anyway, Archangel Michael was there, Gabriel was there, Haniel was there, Raphael was there. There were some others in the room, but I did not focus in on them to tell you exactly who was there. And I sat in the chair and had a conversation with them about what's coming, what's going on in the world. Just a side note, did not write it down in the Gentel. Somebody said something about planes and trains again. Okay, so keep an eye out for anything going on with that this weekend. Don't panic. I just feel like it's going to be in the news somehow, somewhere. If you're traveling for Easter, not a concern. Not a concern. I feel like this is a news story we're going to hear about, like somewhere out in the middle of nowhere where a train derailed again or some kind of other operation went on. So they're still working on that. It's probably transportation of minions and things around the country that they're stopping still. So in a nutshell, the conversation revealed that the transition to Nasara Jasara is underway. Michael said the World Bank is making sure all requirements are met to proceed. That is why, and so this, so the news lately is part of those political and financial steps rolling out. Okay, so it was like, okay, alliance, something they talk about. He's talking about the World Bank, and I don't think that's cabal. Okay, I feel like that's the new World Bank. Not like one world order or something like that, but we're still gonna have banks. We have to. Okay. So what we're seeing are all the conditions that needed to be met within countries happening one by one by one on the financial stage and politically. We're starting to see the political rollout too. We're starting to see exposure of certain individuals for the public to get them ready for the things that are come. We're going to see more of that. He said we'll continue to see, and these are my words, I just summarized it because I was sitting there talking to them for a while. We will continue to see more resignations, financial changes, and news about crimes of government officials in the coming days and weeks to prepare the public for the crashes and changes financially and worldwide. All leading up to when I said, when does the U.S. go to gold? He said May. In May. The RV is underway, probably 2 weeks for exchanges. We'll see how long it takes for them which kind of lines up with what appeared to be bad news that I gave you the other day about waiting for the holiday or holidays. So, either way, I think we're about 2 weeks until we exchange. I really do. And everybody say, "Oh, 2 weeks, 2 weeks." You know what? Sit down, shut up, right? Try and do my job, and then come tell me how you feel about it. Um, Either way, it's good news. Either way, it's rolling out. We're seeing it all over, bits and pieces. There's nothing to be upset about. If you're in a bad situation, I'm sorry. But this is a huge worldwide operation that's been going on. And I got the other day, it's been going on for 20 years. Not just the RV. RV is the revaluation of currencies, but what we're going to see is they're going to allow things. Oh, that's right. He did tell me something. I didn't write it down. Hang on. Let me remember. Michael, what did you tell me about that? The budget. It was about the budget. He said, I said, are they going to approve a big budget? And he said, yeah. And I said, why? And he said, because it'll crash the dollar even more. So what they're trying to crash, their currencies worldwide, is what's happening. Um, some are to the place where they're going to usher in their new currency and have a bigger value. Um, so we're just watching that to describe that. What's happening for you would be very complicated. So, just in a nutshell, understand we're seeing the final preparations to get us to a place where they can start making big announcements. Okay, and one of those is redemption appointments. On a side note, I was going to tell you, I'm not going to cry. Okay, I'm not going to cry. I'm going to tell you my personal stuff, but this is good. All right. So, lots of stuff going on personally in my life. Everybody's got it. Everybody's got it. So, and I'm just focusing on work. I mean, I've just been like, and I'm sorry. I I am behind again. Once again, emails. I got to hire somebody, but I can't afford it. Anyways, but I just have to do so many readings all day long, and we had so many giveaways and free healings that I had offered up because I do that, and that's probably not the smartest thing to do, but I do. And so I just like 60 healings to do. Okay, so if I'm a bit behind, please don't start emailing and saying, have you done my healing yet? Have you done my healing yet? Every day, because I go from the last email I did and go up, and I'll have to respond to you a million times. Then I start to get confused, and it just stresses me out. I will not forget you. I am coming. I have a big list of healings that I have done that I haven't sent the okay back. Yes, it's done yet. So just give me a couple days and I'll get it. Anyway, so when I walked into the meditation, into the library, I I I skipped ahead a little bit for the gentle because when I walked in, I saw somebody smiling at me and it didn't look like an archangel. I was like, who is that? And then I walked up and I'm like, oh, it was the girl's dad who had passed away in '07, which is my husband at the time. And he's smiling, like big smiling. And I'm like, and then I go to a place of fear. Why? Why are you here? Are the girls okay? Is there something I need to do? Don't hit me with anything else, man. I just can't handle it. And why is the camera doing that again? I'll stop moving. Okay. So I walk up to him. I'm like, what? Hit me with it. He's just smiling. He says, everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. And I'm like, well, I could totally be putting those words in your mouth right now and tell myself that everything's gonna be okay. What do you got for me? And he took his hand, he put his hand on my chest, and I see this scene open up, like off to the right, and I'm looking and I can't make it out. What I'm seeing is what looks like people in Easter dresses. And I'm like, we don't really do that anymore. We don't really put on the Easter dresses. When the kids were little, it was so much fun. We'd all get them Easter dresses and the shoes and everything so cute. So I don't know who I was seeing. Someone was wearing a long purple Easter dress, and there were little ones running around. So I don't think it was my life. Maybe it was the future for the girls. And I'm like, okay, everybody lives and has children. We're good. Good. But then I just kind of got this. I said, okay, this is ridiculous. Kind of pulled back from the personal fear and emotion of everything. And then I was just looking at it and I was like, wait a minute. Everything's okay after Easter. Everything's okay after Easter. Shortly after, something good's coming. Okay? Hang in there. Go and get your ham. Go and make the baskets. Stop stressing out. This is happening. And it's underway. Okay? All right. That's what I got for today. He's pretty happy. Now, just on a side note, Bill and I, when we were growing up, or I mean, when the girls were babies and stuff, he did not want them to want for anything. Um, when he grew up, he goes, one time, they were growing so fast. And they came out to play in the yard, and I just threw some clothes on them, and Faith's pants were about an inch too short. He goes, you see that? I'm like, yeah, I do. Kid's growing. Like, no. He's like, when I was a kid, I had to wear my sister's old shoes, tennis shoes, and I had high water pants, and I don't ever want to see them with high water pants and old shoes or anything like that. I want them to not have to deal with that. And so he and I, all these years, I remembered that. And when I was alone with the kids and everything, I always remembered that. And they didn't, we always made sure that, so it's important, especially when they get into school, that they feel good about themselves. I'm like, okay, okay. So I always kept them dressed well and, whatever I had to do. And so it's very important to both of us that those girls um, didn't have the normal basic stresses like that. They're going to have, they're going to have to figure their life out. They're going to have emotional things going on. They're going to have all the regular stuff that everybody has. But as far as that was concerned, he was always concerned and wanted to make sure that his girls, even me, lived in a nice place and felt comfortable. And it's like, without the words being said, I got that from him when he was standing there smiling. And I'm like, why would he be so happy? What is he so happy about? Is it just to see me? I don't think so. Um, I mean, I rarely talk to him unless there's something going on with the girls. I'm like, all right, I need you to get on this one because I need you to take care of the stuff that I can't see, right? Money's coming. It's coming. Because if he was acting like that, it's coming. So just keep the faith. Something about Easter. Around that time, let's just draw a big circle around that time in our lives, and let's not panic if Easter comes and goes, because it is a holiday, and you know how holidays go with all this stuff. Something about that time period. And then I have gotten over and over and over Golden May. Okay, I think that's the cutoff. That's the estimated timeline. We want to get, so we're going to see a whole lot of stuff happen before May. Okay. So we're good. We're good. All right. So let's get into the thoughts over coffee. Today, I want to talk about empaths. It's something that's very useful for people to know. And I have done a show on it before. There's one, if you scroll down on this channel, Fallawsophy, um, Are You an Empath? It's called. Can't even remember all the things I said, but it's basically everything I know was on there. So if you really want to dig into it more, you can go watch that. An empath is an energy reader. Okay, and there are people running around all over the place who have no idea um that they're an empath. And it explains a lot about how they act and react and perceive their environment and reality and those around them. I was distracted by somebody in the chat. So, people, souls in a body, we come in with what we call gifts, okay? It's not really that. It's just some of us have different purposes in life or as a soul. And if somebody tends to be more as a soul of a humanitarian, um, a healer, like back home. Well, you don't have to heal people in heaven, but you know what I'm saying. They come into lives and take on those kinds of things, those kinds of professions, or just tend to be the listener in the middle of the family, the peacemaker, whatever. An empath as a person is just made differently. I think that rather than calling these things gifts, um, just like Michael is the protector and Gabriel is the messenger and Raphael is the healer and Haniel, I believe, is peace, hope. We have our areas of specialty too. The archangels, they can do everything. They can heal, protect, do all those things, but they have their areas of specialty, their expertise. All right, we do as well as human beings coming into lives. Now, the empath is made differently, just like a medium is made differently. An empath, they're kind of like the air cleaners of the world when it comes to energy. And unknowingly, they will pull in negative energy right here, push it out clean. Big air filters when it comes to energy, okay? Have no idea. No idea. So, empaths tend to see the deeper meaning in something when you tell them something. Like if you tell them, "Oh, no offense, but they know exactly what you mean." And they're upset. Okay? Cuz you can tell them I'm not trying to insult you, but they see what you really meant because the energy is flowing through them and they're made in such a way as that all the information from that energy is being processed. Okay? So these people tend to be more emotional. You know, they tend to be very good. They will deny that somebody's lying to them, but they know. They tend to know when somebody really loves them. They tend to be very close to animals. It's very pure energy. It's like they will have a lot of animals or a few very very special animals. They tend to have a really hard time when one of the animals leaves. Okay, as kids and adolescents, because of hormones surging too, they can be very emotional. They tend to self-soothe, probably keep a little more weight on them. Like food better, maybe smoke, drink, stuff like that. There's always some kind of self-soothing going on. Okay. There's a lot of information on the internet about empaths, but some people go in the wrong direction and say, well, I can justify every mistake I've ever made and it's okay because I'm an empath. No. Okay. What you're doing, this is why you're like, why do I attract negative people? Why do I attract people that need to be fixed? Is it me? Am I just seeking them out? You will find yourself in situations with friends, with family members, or put into a family that needs a lot of negative energy cleansing. And you're just like that air cleaner sitting in the corner cleaning the air in the house. So the problem with empaths is they don't understand this is happening. And so they will pull the negative energy in unconsciously. And what the body and the mind or the soul is reading from that energy, they think that that's their emotion, their turmoil, their dark day, their bad day. So an empath, typical empath, get up, go to work. The minute they wake up in the morning, they know how their day is going to go. So they'll wake up and go, well, everything's be okay today. Cool. Cool. Or they'll be like, why am I in a bad mood? What am I going to get hit with today? So they'll get up, they go to work, and a younger empath who hasn't lived a lot to learn how to handle all these emotions and stuff will um one person they'll encounter one person like gas station. Okay, go in the gas station. Somebody was mean. And what the person was doing was dumping, unloading their negative energy. They're mad, sad, whatever, stressed, and they just say blah, 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 blah. And then and it's like, well, why am I so upset by what that person said? It really wasn't that bad because they just you just sucked a bunch of negative energy into your body and you're experiencing their mood. And then we try to reason with it. Okay, what reason do I have to be upset right now? Because I was fine a minute ago. Some people be like, oh, I knew this was happening. The minute I woke up this morning, I knew it was going to be a bad day, and they will have a bad day for the rest of the day. That is a decision. We do not have to do that. Okay? God, send me your light. Bring the light down through the top of your head. This is why I taught you this. There are more empaths than you could ever imagine around. We would not have survived as a civilization, as a planet, as a group of incarnated people if we did not have these people present and all over the place in our lives. So what happens? You're at the store, you suck up all that negative energy, you get in the car, you try to reason with yourself, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel this way? What the empath, and so you come up with all the reasons and you look back on your past and you look back recently, okay, oh yeah, kids didn't do the laundry, yeah, husband was a jerk, yep, mm-hmm. Now I gotta go to work, don't like that chick in the corner, don't like her, okay? All the reasons that you have to be upset, you'll justify it and you'll own that as your negative energy. But it's not. So the first thing you need to do is say, okay, I was fine a minute ago. Why is that stranger who said one thing like, oh, excuse me, and it could be something like that, but you just sucked up all that energy and you're like, well, I got a few things to say to you, lady, but we don't have to do that. We need to identify right off, okay, I absorbed some energy from that woman. Are these feelings mine? Do I have a legitimate reason in this moment today, not going back and reliving every reason you have to be upset, depressed, sad, angry, stressed, whatever for the rest of your life, all the days up until now. This moment today, do I have a legitimate reason right now to feel this way? And if the answer is no, it's not yours. So we do the exercise. God, send me your light. And imagine Visualize. Imagination, that's why they don't like you to do it, is the beginning of creation. Bring that light down through the top of your head, fill your body till bursting, say, let this body be clean. And there's picture all this brown mist coming out of you and going to the white light of the Holy Spirit. Now you got rid of it. May take a little few minutes, okay, but you got rid of it. Empaths, what they'll do is they tend to be very social people. But if they around in a very positive environment, they're fine. But if they're around a lot of negative people, or just too much, they're just soaking up too much, their sponge gets really dirty, that filter gets really dirty, and so they feel like they have to retreat. Like, oh my god, I just got to go home, I'm just going to hang out at home for a few days. And what they're really doing, what they don't understand, is that they're cleansing away that negative energy, they're putting out positive energy. So you put out positive energy if you don't create more negative energy yourself by accepting that all these feelings are yours. You take in the negative energy, put it out clean. Okay, so why don't negative people find me? Because they feel great after they've been next to you. They feel great after they've talked to you. Typical empath. In the line at the grocery store. And everybody you stand to just starts telling your life story. Oh yeah, I was at the doctor the other day and blah 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 blah, and this about my, my uterus. And it's like, what was your name? Like, why are you telling me this? Oh, my wife, my husband cheated on me with my best friend and all this. I'm like, whoa, I'm just trying to check out here with the groceries. Why and then you're nice. Oh, yeah. What they're doing is it's this unconscious desire, because they step into your energy field and they feel the negative energy pulled out of them, and it feels good. Feels like relief. And so they'll start just telling you it all. And you're like, God, I'm just trying to get to my day. Everywhere I go, everybody's telling me all their negative crap. Does anybody have a good story? Anybody have anything positive to say? The same thing will happen in the household. You'll be very connected, whether you want to be or not, to the people in your family, in your house, or wherever they are. And so as much as you try, if somebody is upset in the house, I feel it too. Let's say if somebody's brooding, they're just like, and they're sitting in, you're like, what's wrong? Nothing. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Like, you know what? I'm not putting up with that shit because I can feel it over here. I'm experiencing it along with you. Why don't you just tell me what I'm experiencing right now so that maybe we can work through this? All right? Let's be productive. Let's be open. But the person won't tell you about it because they don't understand. They think, well, I don't want to upset you with my stuff. I'm working through it right now. Well, I'm working through it with you because I'm sucking it all out of you and putting it out clean. So why don't you just tell me what I'm dealing with along with you? I hate that. I hate that when somebody sits in the corner. Nothing. Nothing. And then like 3 days later, you find out this is what's happening. They're the energy readers. Now, if somebody wanted to develop that, fine tune that, they could tune into any person, situation. You're not going to be able to interfere with free will. You're not going to be able to know everybody's personal everything. You're going to get a certain amount of information, how somebody's feeling, if what they're saying is true. You can tune into a situation if somebody asks you a question. That's why you always, an empath is going to hear, I just feel so close to you. I feel like I can tell you anything, and you just get so good advice. Well, that's because they're telling you their story, and you're tuned into the energy of that situation, and you're getting accurate information from it. So, I'm seeing right now polar opposites. When I look across the landscape on social media, people in general, people's families, I hear everybody's real stories when I talk to people in the readings, okay? People open up to me like you would not believe. So I know where everybody's really at right now, okay? And what I'm seeing across the board is polar opposites. We got people that are really down, really negative, really angry, and then we've got people that are like maybe a little more advanced emotionally, spiritually, been working on it for a little while, or have been put into place to be that peacemaker, to be that shining light within the family or whatever situation it is. And they're like, I'm not accepting that anymore. I'm going to be positive. You're not going to screw up my day. This is what's going to happen. Are they delusional? No. They're just not allowing themselves to be to bathe in this pot of negative energy. Okay? Everything is energy, really. You don't want to go so far and to remove consciousness and love and everything else from energy, because those are energies too. Everything. Okay? And there's information in all that energy. So empaths are energy readers. So they're going to have a wide range, like somebody who develops that, works on that. It's going to be very easy to them because all they really have to do is pick it apart, fine tune it, tune into the situation. What do I hear? What do I feel? What does it sound like? What does it look like? What pictures are popping into my head, like memories that aren't my memories, things like that. But I'm telling you this to pair up with the psychic protection that I taught you last week. Do that exercise. God, send me your light. Bring the light down into you. Go ahead and visualize it all. Go ahead and imagine it all. It doesn't matter if it looks like your imagination. It's not. You'll feel it. Cleanse that away quickly, because I feel like people are struggling because they're encountering a lot of negative energy. And for some people who are empaths, it's been a struggle. Okay? If you don't understand a child that you have who's always so emotional, everything's such a big deal, like they're having trouble getting rid of the negative energy that they're accumulating at school, from the teachers, on the internet. It doesn't have to be a person in your vicinity. That's why long time ago I figured out the girls and I were big empaths, because I would turn on the news. When I'm making dinner, it was usually like cartoons and stuff, and I turn on the news. Everybody was happy. Turn on the news, especially Faith. I look over, Faith's crying. I'm like, what's the matter? Well, we have to do something. I mean, these people, like, their house burnt down, and like all this. I'm like, okay. And then Katie's over there, and Katie's pissed off. And I'm like, why are you mad? So Faith used to get sad. Katie gets mad. Katie's just like almost Scorpio. Okay. But I saw it in them early on. And so I stopped. I said, all right, we're not watching the news anymore. There's nothing else. If anything's really important, we need to know. We'll get some kind of emergency alert or something. We don't need to suck in and to experience everybody's trauma every day on the news. So I just turned it off, and we didn't watch the news forever. It made a huge difference. Now I know why. You ever notice that, like, everything's fine, and then you watch a scary movie, and all of a sudden your house is haunted? Now all of a sudden you hear things, what the, and you're scared. That's what upsets me so much about, over the years, more and more and more and more, I've seen the movies, the sitcoms, and then we have these series, everything. You take a look at it. The energy of them is so low. so dark, depressing. Everything's tragedy, fear, um, sadness. I mean, where's the love? I mean, we used to turn on the TV, and I don't care, yeah, I don't think it was all pure, but what happened to like just because sitcoms that made you laugh? Laughing is a wonderful thing. Laughing releases negative energy up and it pulls in positive energy down. I say up and down, but you know what I'm saying. So you're gonna when you laugh, you're pulling in God's light energy into you and it's raising your vibration and it's pushing out the bad stuff. Because once more light energy from God, the high vibrational energy you pull into your body, the less darkness can stay in there. Okay? Now, there is an emotional choice to hang on to things. And it's a very complicated thing. But in a nutshell, you really should reduce. I mean, and just for the truthers now, you really should reduce the amount of time that you stay immersed and involved in the tragic news. I take a look at things, I'm like, okay, I'm scanning for information. All right. This person, this is what they did. I'm aware of it. But I'm not going to sit there and I'm not going to watch all the stories of the children and all the terrible stuff because I start to feel the energy of that story. That's another way you can tell if something's true. So we are all energetic beings, okay? And everybody feels something to a certain extent. But to understand a person in your family or a child who has a really hard time with things, you might have an empath. And some of these kids are described, the parents will describe them as, oh, they're just so loving and they're so giving and they're so good, but they're just so deep and they're just so affected by things. They just need to be sheltered a little bit. Well, teach them what I taught you and see what happens. First thing you want them to learn, and then I told the girls, is this yours? Is this yours? Is this your situation, your emotion, your journey, your choice? So what are you dealing with? Because a lot of times my kids would come home and they're like, oh, my friend this and my friend that, and my friend told me about everything that's going on at home and everything else, and they're just as upset. There it goes. They're just as upset as the friend. And I said, okay, I understand. We assist, we counsel, we guide. But you need to push it back out. Take a step back. And although you love your friend, you're not going to be very good counsel if you're drowning in that water with them. Okay, you got to be the one on the boat to pull them out. Okay, so we need to push that negative energy out. We need to be that shining light for them because that's why they came to you. So asking a child, do you have a reason to be upset right now? Let's just sit down, calm down, and let's figure out what happened. And if they start telling you, well, so and so fell down and Johnny's dad and mom are getting a divorce, and then the teacher was yelling at the class and blah blah blah. I was like, okay, your sponge is dirty. Your energy sponge is dirty. Let's cleanse that away. Let's get and so is anything today happened to you personally? Did you fall down? Did the teacher yell at you? Is your mom and dad getting divorced? No. Okay, well, you're just feeling everybody else's emotions. So let's get that out. It doesn't say anything about your day or who you are or anything else. This is something they have to learn. Adults can learn this now, and it will explain a lot. It explains a lot. So, we want to be cleansing. And now, empaths, like when I taught you, bring the light in. God, send me your light. Bring it down to the top of your head. Fill up till bursting and create your bubble around you. Say, stay. Energy creates everything, especially the highest of vibration, God's light, creates everything you see, everything you hear, everything you feel, everything that you know to be real and solid. The sticky notes, everything. So let's bring that in. You can create your bubble. What you can do with the walls of that bubble is you can turn them into mirrors facing outward, like a big disco ball, just mirrors all facing outward. So all that energy that's coming at you, you take a break. It's called an empath break. Okay? Let all that energy just bounce off of you. Okay? Back, and then you can go to Walmart. Then you can go into crowds. Then you can go back in the office and deal with all those jerks in there. It's time to take conscious control of our protection and stop being a leaf on the wind. And it'll help you understand the people around you. Like for the longest time, the kids are getting pretty good at it. I have to stop them though. Sometimes I'm like, wait a minute. Getting all worked up again. I mean, they don't get so worked up that they're just like crying, and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, tell me the story. And I'll tell you what's yours. And then we'll deal with that. Okay? So it's kind of like an emotional control too. So I think it's a good practice for everyone, but especially for the empath, the air cleaners of the world when it comes to energy. I want to wring out that sponge and start every day fresh. It might be something good to do at the end of every day when you get home from work, maybe in the car before you go into the house. Sometimes you're not going to get a lot of personal information about a person's story because we don't interfere with people's privacy. And if you're psychically trying to pick that up, probably not going to get all the information. If you have any fears about what it could be, you're not going to get that either. So it's kind of a tricky thing to read energy. It's much easier to do it for other people or strangers that you're not personally involved in. Now reading it for somebody that you're going to go into a relationship with, probably going to be wrong. Okay? Just speaking from personal experience. Probably going to be wrong because you're, like I said before, you want certain things. Okay? And you will accept or not accept certain things that you're presented with that seem odd, red flags from the beginning, and you won't see it. You won't see it till later. And that's okay. Everybody does that. But right now, to this period of time, with all you're going to see polar opposites. You're going to see really bad stuff and really good things, and people are going to be reacting to that. So your filter is going to get dirty. And what that might feel like to people who are unaware is that I'm just getting lower and lower and lower. I just feel worse and worse and worse. And how can I go on? All right, you got to wring out that sponge. You got to take a step back, take a look around. Is it really that bad where you are in this moment right now? No. Okay? It's everybody else. So do whatever you can for everybody else. But understand, deal with your own stuff. Okay? Cleanse daily and get it out. And then you can start the day fresh. And you really can be that beacon of light for everybody around you. And be a good listener. Understand, yeah, I'm pulling in negative energy right now. You don't keep it. You don't get people's illnesses. You don't get all that. Oh, cool story about the illness thing. The kids. God, I've learned so much from having kids. My kids. Faith Marie, my oldest daughter. Now, Katie's a drip too. But when it comes to this, I had a dream when Faith was a baby. Like baby. And I was standing in this like soft rolling landscape, long green blades of grass that were just blowing. It was beautiful. I don't understand that part of it. And I don't understand this part of it. There was a woman standing at a wooden podium talking to a field of rolling grass, and no one was there. And she had words like with a black marker written all over her face. And I'm like, dark haired woman, full grown. Then I realized I'm standing next to this blonde lady who I thought at the time was my mom, but then I looked at her, it wasn't my mom. Found out later that was my guide. We don't talk much. And I said, who is that? And she said, that's Faith. And I said, why does she have words written all over her face? And she said, she's an empath. And said it just like that. And I'm like, that's not a word. I didn't know anything about this. This was 24 years ago. I'm like, and I woke up. I think it was like 10 years later. I was on the internet, Facebook or something. We had these spiritual groups everybody get into. We all talk about spiritual stuff. Somebody started talking about an empath. And I'm like, what? That's a thing? Holy crap, I heard that in a dream. I thought it was nonsense. I thought maybe, oh, she's empathetic. Tripped me out. And then I started looking at it. I'm like, wow, this is a thing. This is a thing. Okay. And it started to explain a lot. But I remember when Faith was little, maybe like when she was old enough to, I don't know, about like 3, she would have all these weird phantom symptoms. And at that time, I was always back and forth to the doctor, pediatrician. Okay, somebody's got this, somebody's got an ear infection all the time. And I take her in one time because she said, oh, my back hurts and I have a headache. She said that, what was it, the evening before? Okay, I'll take her in the morning. Time and time again, there was nothing wrong. And I thought about the evening before. Her dad's back hurt. And I had a headache. And I kept thinking, you're 3, you're brand new. Why would your back hurt? I mean, you're all bendy and stuff. I mean, you're just like, why would your back hurt? And I get her to the doctor. She really doesn't have the symptoms the next day. Dad was not in the house anymore. He was at work. He was better. I didn't have a headache anymore. Doctor said she's fine. I don't see anything wrong with her. Happened time and time again. And I finally realized that she's such a strong empath. Well, at the time I didn't know what empath was. 10 years later, but at the time I figured out she's having like sympathy pains from the people that she's very connected to. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And what the other thing she'd also do is I'm like, is this kid telepathic? Like, do I need to make a tinfoil hat or something? Because I would be thinking, like when the kids are small and you're home with them and you're like, oh, what are we going to do today? Oh, maybe I'll take them to the park, but not say anything. I shit you not, within like a couple minutes, face like, park? And I'm like, damn it. Because you don't want to tell them you're doing anything until you're like going. Okay, because then you gotta do it. All right. Maybe if you're just thinking, maybe I'll go to the park. I don't want to do that. We'll do something else. But she would know. She would know. I mean, so what she was doing was she was very in tune to my energy field. And somehow within that energy field of me in my mind, seeing us at the park, times we were at the park before, images come into my mind of the park, how it feels to be there, the wind blowing the trees, whatever, the sandbox, everything else. The drive there, she's picking up on the information in that energy field. And suddenly the kid says, park? Because she started seeing her own. She got the information. Had no idea what she was doing. Same thing. Same thing happens with an empath. Okay. So if somebody comments to you, oh, I just had a feeling. Crap, I got to read it in 3 minutes. I just had a feeling, or anything like that. Empath, and there's varying levels. Okay, some people are just a little bit, like a little bit empath, and some people are a lot. All right. Um, Understand this. Teach them to identify what is actually theirs and what is not physically, emotionally. Teach them to cleanse. Do it yourself. We're going into a time where you're going to need this. Okay, I'm giving you weapons to protect yourself. Not that it's going to be really bad, but it might be hard. We're already there. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hurts. It's kind of hard. Okay. Um, and if you're tuned into the internet and all the terrible stories and everything that's going on in the world, and you're sitting at home and you're just destroyed because of everything that's going on in the world, pull back. You're pulling in the world's energy. Don't do that. Cleanse it away. Decide what is yours to handle and yours to fix and yours to feel. Okay? All right, guys. I want to get to your questions, but I only had an hour today. I had to start later because I had to do stuff in the morning. I never have enough time. And then I get to like 5 o'clock and I'm just brain dead, And I'm like, I should eat something. All right. Well, I love you all. Thank you for watching the show. Comment on Telegram about your blasting, your experiences. I love hearing that stuff. And just start practicing. Just start doing it. Okay? Have a wonderful day. It's all happening. No need to worry anymore. All right.